Here we go, back in action with yet another FUBO update, and it really seems like we can speak about this company every couple of days. But FuboTV, ticker symbol FUBO here on the New York Stock Exchange, $1.66, up a nickel, 3.1%. After hours right now, basically flat. And I just want to speak about a couple of things I'm seeing here in the technicals, and then we move over to the recent news. So FUBO right here, we can see that we had this big run up to $1.69. Then we had a little pullback and we retested $1.69 today, and we basically closed up about 3%. But here with these double tops, you can see going back to October 16, you can see top left of the screen, the high $1.69. Here today, multiple touches of $1.69. So it seems like this is the top here, and we're trending upward with these higher lows of these candles coming out here. So in my opinion, it kind of looks like we're setting up this ascending triangle, which of course technically means the stock may approach the apex and then break upward. And we were looking for this trend line here, which goes back to that initial pop off of that litigation news, 218 on August 19. Go from that top over to that next top right there on August 23rd, 215, and we just draw that down across. And we said last time that that was about 185, 186, and I was personally looking for a climb up to test that level before earnings, probably going into those earnings, which as you see is what, like 10 days from today. We're looking at November 1st. Estimates, again, a loss of 17.7 cents a share on revenue of 376.76 million. But it looks like here, the technicals, in my opinion anyway, looks like we may have a pop-up to that 185 level, perhaps over the next couple of days. And last quarter, as you see, revenue estimates 368.3 million. Company came in posting almost 391 million. So even with estimates climbing here to 376 million, I'm probably going to give the company the benefit of the doubt and say that they have a very, very good chance to beat that revenue estimate. Again, subscriber growth is climbing like 20+% quarter over quarter. A lot of these numbers are moving in the right direction. The losses are now in check. And of course, for the last several quarters, we have seen them even post tighter than expected, more narrow than expected losses. And what that means as well, we were talking about potentially maybe the second or third quarter, maybe about mid-2025, we do have the potential to see this company go net income positive, especially with now moving forward after this quarter. I believe revenue was expected to jump up to the 450, the $460 million mark. So that may just translate to just even quicker profitability, which, again, I said in my opinion should technically help pump up the stock even more. And we can see that we jumped up from the low 300s to the low 400s and now still maintaining the high 300 million level. But you can see the net margin percentage now climbing out of the basement, sitting here minus 6.5% as of last quarter. So in my opinion, a lot of things are going right for FUBO. And they keep trying to innovate, right? They keep trying to just add to their collection of offers that they're bringing to the average consumer here. And we can see that this was news that came out today. FUBO launches standalone premium subscription services, no base channel plan necessary. So in my opinion, what they're doing is they know that the average person is still struggling over the last couple of years, despite, the economists, quote unquote, on, CNBC, they come out and they say, oh, the market's at all-time highs. All we do is go higher. The economy's great. You and I both know what's really going on. And FUBO is actually kind of going out of their way to shake things up. And now we can see they're kind of piecemealing all of this little content that they have under their umbrella. And now you kind of have that customization feature to where you can go to FUBO and you can say, no, I just want like the NBA League Pass. Or no, I just want, Paramount content. And they're even offering pay-per-views here. So let's get into it. Company offers Paramount Plus with Showtime, NBA League Pass, FanDuel Sports Network, which was formerly Bally Sports Network, as standalones in addition to current package options. More standalone subscriptions to come as live TV streaming platform aims to be a super aggregator with flexible content bundles at multiple price points. Leading sports first, live TV announced today, launch of standalone, yes. NBA League Pass are the first networks offered to customers as standalone subscriptions. These networks continue to be available in FUBO's Pro Base plan, or as add-on channel packages, subscribers to these standalone packages will also receive FuboTV Free, a robust collection of nearly 200 free ad-supported streaming television channels, or FAST channels as they call them. So, subscribing to one of these standalone packages also gives you access to 200 free FAST channels, as they call them. So this is why, again, in my eyes, I really do feel that FuboTV is trying to help out their subscribers and their customers. I really do. And also by offering, again, these kind of selective pieces of content, they're basically going opposite of what Disney did to them, if you recall. Because when this whole lawsuit happened, that's what FuboTV brought up. Back with Disney in, when was it? I don't know, 2018 or whatever they said, right? They wanted to work with Disney in the past, and Disney said, oh, well, if you want, these channels and this content, you got to also take these 20 other channels. And FuboTV was like, no, we don't really want to do that. And they said, all right, well, tough noogies. And FuboTV said, all right, we're just going to do our own thing. So now you can see that they're trying to cater to the consumer. And now you have the ability, as we said before, oh, I just want to watch basketball content, boom, I get the NBA League Pass. Or I can get whatever, the Paramount content. So, in my opinion, I think this is only going to further add to the subscriber growth that FuboTV has already been seeing. Again, we're seeing 20% subscriber growth quarter over quarter. So, in my eyes, it really is only going to get better, technically, based off this, but who knows? Anything can happen. The launch of standalone services is a key component of FuboTV's super aggregation strategy, where it aims to offer flexible content bundles from skinny to fat at different price points, all within the FuboTV ecosystem. With the growing consumer outcry for a frictionless streaming experience, FuboTV will now offer 3 different channel plan tiers. We have FuboTV Free, premium subscription services, and the virtual MVPD. And also, yes, do not require. FuboTV is also exploring the launch of other content offerings such as pay-per-view, transactional video on demand, and skinny bundles. So again, the skinny bundles may just be just a value package, right? We'll give you a handful of some channels, some content, and that'll be our cheapest product available to you. Also, the pay-per-view, I think it's a pretty good idea if they can make it in a way, again, like these fights and whatnot. We know they recently signed up with BKFC. So, if there's a way where you can just tap in and you can literally pay-per-view for each fight or just a specific one or, 3 fights that you want to see, that's catering to the specific customization of the consumer. Because again, we're all different. So the fact that now they're just rolling out, 100 different options to kind of appease everybody, in my eyes, I really do think it's going to just add to their popularity, and more people are going to sign up. And again, apparently, even if you do, a simple plan, or if you do this free plan as well, there's a lot of content. So that's why I feel like their subscriber growth is just going to continue here based off of this news. FuboTV customers who subscribe to live linear subscription services will also receive unlimited cloud DVR and the ability to stream from multiple screens simultaneously. There you go. Quote, consumers want flexible streaming options that lets them subscribe to only the content they want to watch. There you go. Our vision to be a super aggregator aims to give consumers a seamless way to access all of the content they love within the FuboTV ecosystem and at appropriate price points. With the addition of standalone live and SVOD premium subscriptions, we believe offering multiple bundles from skinny to fat will put choice in the hands of our customers. This is what streaming should be. So FuboTV, again now, potentially innovating in the entire industry now. And for all we know, we may start to see these other streaming services begin to follow suit. Oh, you want, these few channels, this content, but you don't want the rest of this crap? Okay, no problem. You can just select that specific content and we'll make a plan for you, right? So now FUBO, again, as they say, as the saying goes, the first one through the wall is always the bloodiest. And we can see again that FUBO is going through this whole process, the restructuring of the losses, getting the costs in check, bringing subscribers into the platform, showing consistent growth now, revenue coming in above estimates consistently for the most part for the last 6, 7, 8 quarters in a row, whatever it's been. And because, in my opinion, they're going through this whole lawsuit with the joint venture, I just feel that they're keeping it quiet and they're keeping this under the radar. But if FUBO keeps doing what it's doing, again, almost got to $4 on its own merits before we heard about this lawsuit. So I want everyone to keep that in mind as well. So in my eyes, here we're at $1.66, stock should be at $3.66 right now. But also, more importantly, the numbers and the growth will eventually not be denied. And we will be forced to see, in my opinion, an explosion in FUBO stock price moving forward. And this is why, again, people keep asking me, what's going on with FUBO? How come FUBO's not up at 2? When is FUBO going to get back at 3? Listen, obviously, I don't exactly know the time frame in which all of these prices are going to be hit. But the one thing I will say, I'm like 98%, 99%. I don't even know why I said 98. 99% in my opinion. I am confident that FUBO stock will see growth. They have technically been doing all of the right things, and they consistently keep innovating and trying to cater to their consumers. In this current environment, where all of these streaming services are fighting for every subscriber and every dollar. Where were we? Yeah, we were somewhere over here. This is what streaming should be. Launches of additional standalone premium subscription services, both live linear and SVOD, will be announced. About FUBO and blah, blah, blah. So, again, technically, this is good news. And they remember. I think they remember what Disney did to them. Oh, you want some of this sports content? You also have to take these 20 channels that, you don't want, that kind of make no sense with your platform. Right? So now FUBO's like, you know what? We're getting all this content. We're growing like a weed. This is what we're going to do. We're going to start customizing all of these different plans so that anyone who comes to FUBO, there's something for them, even if they have very, very little pocket change. We want everyone to be part of the FUBO experience. That's what it seems like, in my opinion. We also did the other update with that study talking about the effectiveness of the ads and the interaction of the customer when they're watching the ads, and it seemed like FUBO was just head and shoulders above the rest of the competition. So this is why I'm telling you, in my opinion, all of this is adding up and going to begin a snowball experience. And it may take a while. I know it's very slow. I know it's very boring. But you and I both know, if we have a chunk of change, and again, everyone's financial situation is different. Some people have a couple of $1,000. That's big money for them. They're looking for, a stock that can potentially double or triple steadily over the next year or two, whatever time frame they might have. Other people might have 50,000. Some people watching here have 7 figures to invest into these positions. But long story short, again, if you can follow the revenue, see the growth of the business, and understand what is on the long-term horizon, 1, 2, 3 years down the road, then again, it might be slow, it might be boring, but if we turn around in 2.5 years and all of a sudden this stock's at like $8, $10 a share, you're probably going to turn around and say, oh yeah, that 20 grand that I really wanted to grow for me, that I was looking for, an actual solid investment, I should have just put it into FUBO, now it'd be worth close to 100K. This is the conversation that in the current environment, you will potentially have a couple of years down the road. So unless, again, all of a sudden subscriber growth plateaus or starts to decrease, or all of a sudden they start missing revenue estimates by like 10% or something, then we can reevaluate the situation. But in its current environment, in my opinion, I really like FUBO here. And we've been looking at it on this channel for quite some time. And basically, since we looked at it, in my eyes, they've just been doing just positive news update after positive news update after earnings beat after earnings beat. But let's look at stock charts real quick. I'll let you go because the main point of the video was just to update you on that news. But we wanted to look at the technicals as well. Again, we have this potential ascending triangle popping up here to the 180s going into earnings. Again, November 1st. And we have RSI here on the daily at 58, so we are stepping upward. We still have more room to go. We know that benchmark is up there at 70, so we can keep stepping up to that potential 185, 186 level. Stock today up 3%. That got us above the 50-day and the 200-day moving average, both sitting at 160 and 163. Stock right now 166, hit 169. So again, we may be ready to break out of that potential ascending triangle, and look at all these nice healthy bounces off the 50-day. And now the 200-day was coming down, right? We touched it recently on that litigation news, had the rejection off of it, a big sell-off, and now look, it just storms right back within a couple of weeks, and we're back above the 200-day, potentially about to curl this moving average now over the long term. Again, 200-day, look at that, coming down, and now potentially going to start flattening and curling to the upside. MACD consistently climbing. Check the weekly. We can see RSI still middle of the road over here at 52. So technically it can continue to climb over the next couple of weeks. As we see, 50-day moving average 187. Trend line about 186. Bada bing, bada boom. In my opinion, it's on the way. Top Bollinger Band 193. I would love to see a climb above that resistance trend line, and maybe we can run to the 190s and maybe even $2 going into earnings. Because again, off the initial news, the stock immediately jumped up above 2. So that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, I really do believe Wall Street kind of knows, quote unquote, that this stock should be valued at least at like 2.5, right? Somewhere in there. And again, last time we looked at the numbers, I know I do a lot of updates, so I don't go over everything I've said in the past about the stock that we look at, but you can always go back. You can look at previous FUBO update videos, but I've said in the past when we looked at the numbers that, in my opinion, the stock really should be up at like $4 or $5 and change. We really should be hitting new highs, and it'd be hard to deny them at this point because they do have the numbers and the growth to back it up. But we could potentially see that 190. Imagine if all of a sudden, this litigation gets cleared up, we roll into 25, the company goes net income positive, now they just start chunking them up after earnings. Imagine a retracement. That's what I mean. Back to that 200-day moving average would be around $9, high 8s. You're talking about 400 or 500% returns here. Definitely nothing to sneeze at. And you'd be doing it with shares as opposed to having that deadline of the expiration, right? You're not going to have to worry about that. That's why I say sometimes, especially when you're talking about the cheaper shares down here at a couple of bucks a share, in my opinion, you're better off just taking a position, just buy the shares, just tuck them away, wait, take the growth, because trying to time that option is not only making you anxious or stressing you out even more, but also we've seen where we turn out to be correct. But sometimes your timing is off. And that's why trading options is so difficult. So that's why, depending on the situation, a couple of cheap puts or calls, understandable. You're trying to make, a triple, quadruple on your money. Something like this, in my opinion, if you see the growth and we're saying we might see $5, $6 in a year or so, then just buy the shares. Don't try to time the options. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. But MACD relatively flat, and yeah, we can get up to this 187 moving average maybe, and top Bollinger Band 193. But only time will tell. Pivot points real quick. We can see we bounced off 147 pretty healthily, it looks like. If we do happen to pop up and explode, we can see next pivot point on the weekly, 267. Switching over to the daily, we have resistance here at 173. And then the next resistance level up here at 205. So that's why if we are able to really see a pump out of this triangle and get to this trend line here, and get above this trend line, which of course would be at or above the 50-day moving average as well, we just looked at 187, then we may break up and we may run into the twos going into these earnings. So now over the next like 2-3 days, we have to see how FUBO wants to react. Again, we could have a rejection here. We can start pulling back to around the 1.5 level. But in my opinion, it really should break up based off of previous momentum, previous numbers. And it reminds me of what we said recently with something like Soundhound, right? Soundhound was a little different. It was in the symmetrical triangle, which means it could either break up or break down. It's not bullish or bearish, right? But we saw the symmetrical triangle, and we were looking at the last couple of quarters, revenue coming in above expectations. They recently acquired that Amelia company. They're rolling into the healthcare sector now. It was just really positive piece after positive piece. That's the way I was looking at it with something like Soundhound. And that's why I said that as we approach that apex, we really should see a break up as opposed to a break down. And that's exactly what the stock did. It started to climb 5.5, 570, wherever it is now. But that's why FUBO, I feel kind of same thing, right? They brought it up after the news. Now we've been stepping down, consolidating for the last like 2 months or whatever. And now we have some technicals lining up in our favor. We have some bullish momentum coming into this earnings report here in about a week or so. So boom, we may see a pop up and you may see some short-term action with FUBO. But I'm viewing this, again, as someone who's looking at it from the average consumer lens. In my opinion, I think this is phenomenal because I currently am not a FUBO subscriber, but if I did want to sign up for FUBO, now anything specifically that I want to see, I'm able to. And they're not going to throw or force a bunch of other nonsense onto me to where you're looking at your plan, 3 months from today, and you're saying, oh, I'm paying X amount of dollars every month for FUBO, but look, they give me this, I don't really care about this. They, I can watch the, this sport, but I'm not really into it. Like, you understand what I'm saying? So that's why I feel, in my eyes, I think this is going to move a lot of subscribers and viewers over to the FUBO platform. But that is pretty much it. So I'm going to end it there. Once again, Stocks by the Numbers, I want to thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please drop it down in the comments section. I'm usually pretty quick to reply. Thumbs up algorithm helps me get more eyes on the channel. And of course, subscribe to the channel. That is our handshake agreement. That is how you help me help you. But more importantly, moving forward, like I always say, I understand that markets are rocky, they're volatile, and they're very uncertain. So I want to wish all of you success. I hope everyone makes a couple of dollars. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.